get down to business here. Okay.
Boys, recording's the progress.
Yeah, we straight chillin', serial killing, pre-cold villains on the mic, got you reeling. Five-star rated from the floor to the ceiling. If you catch a one-star, no time for feelings. Got a team and DJ on the ones and twos. By the name Beelzebub, so don't get confused. So grab a seat by the fire, roast them all over two, and prepare to hear the legend of the straight chillin' crew.
What up, nerds? And welcome to another Faustian episode of Straight Chilling, the weekly horror movie review show where you chill and we kill, slice, dice, and chop up yet another horror movie. My name is Bob. I'll be your host for the evening. This is episode 527, recorded on Monday, May 12th, 2025. Tonight we're talking about another You Pick the Flick. This one was chosen by Alice. The movie is Ready or Not from 2019. Before we get into it, let me introduce everyone else on the show tonight. First up, calling in from Washington, D.C., we got your boy Rand Diesel. What's up?
What's up, buddy? It's good to hear from you. Good to talk with you. You ready to play some games? You ready to get gamed?
I'd like to play a game.
Oh, do you? God, I wish this fucking
Get
thing
in
wasn't
the
lagging
tub,
so
I'll
bad.
get the handcuffs.
Mhm. We're
My
gonna play Tummy
favorite game.
Sticks.
My favorite game. Last but not least, calling in from South Korea, we got your boy, Soju. What's up, man?
Good evening, chaps. It is your fellow Sir Reginald Staines the Third, charmed, I'm sure.
You wish.
Are you charmed, Bob?
I don't feel that charmed,
I'm
No?
charmed.
Would you say
No.
semi-charmed?
baby. Yes.
All right, that's all I need.
Let's date our asses
I'm
real
a,
hard.
I'm a Q charmed, you know?
Q charmed.
I got a Q charm.
Q charmed kind of life, Randy.
I want Rand Diesel.
Whoa.
You
Okay.
know I do.
Boys, we got a fresh new you pick on the schedule, and woo,
We do.
stocks just went up, boys.
Stock just went up.
Hell yeah, that's how it goes.
Stock and
Yeah.
straight chilling.
Mhm.
Yeah. We're officially a penny stock as of right
We-
now.
We are the NASDAQ. Some NASDAQ ass motherfuckers. Right here.
We need to start an NFT or not an NFT, like a crypto scam or some shit. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Let's start a
Let's get that
crypto
rolling.
Everybody's
scam.
doing it. The Hawk Tuah broad. She,
The
she,
Oh yeah, it only
Good
worked
enough
out
money.
for her benefit, as we all know. The president, it's all gone.
Get your
Yeah,
stain coins now.
your chill coin.
Stain coins.
Stained coins. Yeah, what could go
And
wrong?
invest in stains.
Don't people understand that 12 stains is worth 4 Rand Diesels, and then all you need is 25 babus for a yabo sandwich?
Gotta cash in my baboos.
I need that
Buy the
Yabo
blues.
sandwich. Damn, that doesn't as appetizing as you would think.
I missed the sandwich part of that equation. Holy shit.
Look,
I don't like soft ass shit.
If you want to open up a Yabo sandwich franchise, give us a call on the horn and we'll get that rolling for you too.
Whoa, all right.
that's the
Things-
way
Call
to
us
go.
on
Things
the
are really
horn.
rolling. We sure are entrepreneurs.
You got sandwiches, you got Babu coins, stained ass coins, Rand Diesels. What could go
We're a
wrong?
bunch of nerds who never had a girlfriend in their lives.
Mhm.
Swish.
That's right.
Wish. Before we get into all the NFT nonsense, we do have some housekeeping to tackle real quick. We do have our June poll currently posted over on our Patreon website. If you guys support us at the $5 level or above, you get the chance to vote on a movie we're talking about this June. The theme for June is hurricane season. The movies you're voting between are Bodies, 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 Crawl, and I Still Know What You Did Last Summer.
Whoa, Bob, how are those numbers looking?
Well, first place is still Crawl, sitting with 44% of the vote. Second place, Dead Heat. Bodies, 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 and I Still Know What You Did Last Summer both have 28% of the vote.
Wow,
Damn,
okay.
man. That's a pretty competitive round. I
Yeah,
like
it
it.
is.
Yeah, and we're only halfway through May, so you still got plenty of time to vote.
Yeah.
Plenty of time for
Get in there.
gamesmanship.
Do it. Buy some votes with your NFTs or your Rand Diesels.
I
or
know,
whatever.
yeah, you can
Oh, damn.
exchange those Rand Diesels for one vote.
You can get if you get QCHA coin, you can really go to town on the market.
I think they're trading at like $5,000 a coin too, so it's really a steal.
Oh my god.
Oh,
my
yeah.
God.
QCHA coin. It's
QCHA coin.
Kiche.
QCHA
cash,
coin.
cash them in. You know, think about your future, your kids, your grandkids.
You gotta think.
They're gonna.
The
they're
best
gonna
thing you
thank
can do for your children's future is to put all your money into Yabo coin today.
You
You
gotta,
gotta
leave
have at least 69 Kiches.
QCHA coins for
QCHA
your
coins.
kids. Put it in the will. Write that down for your kids.
It's gonna go up and up and up to the moon, baby. That's
To
right.
the moon.
Won't
You
someone
gotta
please think of the children?
You gotta get the tendies. You gotta pay for the tendies, right? That's what they say. Straight to the moon for the tendies.
That's what they
Anyway.
say.
I don't know what's happening anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of the point.
I clearly know what I'm talking about. Get those votes in for the anime. We'll see what we're talking about this June. We're still dropping mini casts every other Friday. We just dropped one last Friday. Your boy Rand Diesel was over here talking about Sinners.
Sinners. That's right. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I won't be the only one for long. It doesn't seem like. Seems like we're gonna have maybe a convo about that ourselves.
Well,
Yeah, I think we're gonna work that into
Well,
the main cast.
you don't need to come on that
Sure.
episode, Randy, since you've
Sit
already
it
talked
out.
That's right.
about. We'll
That's
just-
right. Just make a soundboard of all of my points and play them when appropriate. I'm going on vacation.
All right.
You got it, dude. You got it. Insert that bump of you saying, I love ass to mouth. And that's all we're going to hit just constantly.
Well, that's officially now your bump because you've just said it
That's
in a very
true.
clear and concise way.
ILA2M, says Randy. So next up, we're going to be dropping a mini cast on Severance Season 2. That's dropping Friday, May 23rd. Mark your calendars. Get ready for that. That's all we really got going on for Patreon currently. You guys have anything you need to plug?
Not a damn thing from here.
I
Just,
think I'm clean this week.
all right. We're counting this house as clean.
Squeaky.
This house is clean.
All right, we're getting into the main event, talking about Ready or Not, and we're kicking it off with the back of the box.
What's on the back of the box?
Bob, I saw
Bob,
you
how many
had
counts?
this box.
Bye.
Bob,
Pop.
The blue box. Bam.
it's blue.
All right.
It is.
That is a blue box.
Something
Got it.
blue. Bob got something blue.
Oh boy.
I see what you did. I see what you did there. This is on Blu-ray. You can stream it, you can rent it. It's really easy to find. If you want to check it out, make sure you do so. But yeah, this is from 2019, rated R, with a runtime of 1 hour and 35 minutes. This was written and directed by Matt Bettinelli Open, Tyler Gillette, and Guy Busick. They oftentimes collaborate under the name of Radio Silence, which have most recently they've done the 5 Cream and 6 Cream movies, as well as Abigail. They did one of the shorts on the original VHS movie, as well as one of the shorts on that Southbound anthology. So yeah, they're around. They work in the genre quite heavily. We've seen a lot of their stuff. We've talked about a lot of their stuff.
Yeah, we pretty
Um,
much
We've
covered.
talked to them briefly.
We talked to them in real life too, as a matter of fact. This stars Samara Weaving, Adam Brody, Mark O'Brien, Henry Cherney, Andy McDowell, Melanie Scrofano, some other lovely folks. Plot synopsis brought to you by IMDb is as follows. A bride's wedding night takes a sinister turn when her eccentric new in-laws force her to take part in a terrifying game. Gentlemen, have you seen this movie before? Would you recommend folks check it out? Rand Diesel, kick us off.
Yeah, I've seen this at least once. I might have been twice. But I was a little late to it. I remember hearing you guys talk about it, or at least you, Bob, and our buddy Brad, of course. Um, both told me all about it and like wildly raved that I should go check it out, and I never got around to the theater. So I watched it after that, and yeah, I would recommend it for sure. I think this is like just like a perfectly fun action horror sort of, almost like there's some comedy in there. I'd hesitate to call it much of a comedy, but it's just like a fun film, especially if you are into like the other stuff these guys have made. Abigail in particular is like very, very like tonally pretty similar to this, I would say. I like it. I think it's worth watching.
Cool. Juice, what about you?
Yeah, I had seen this movie a couple times at least. This is at least my third or fourth watch, I think. So, yeah, I've seen this, and yeah, I would recommend people check this out. I think this is a really good movie. I think it's a pretty solid blend between kind of, it's not quite a comedy, but it's quite comedic.
Mhm.
But it still brings a lot of good tension and some solid gore. And I think it's a very appropriate time to watch it now too. I think it fits perfectly right on the straight chilling calendar around now, because now is kind of wedding season. I feel like there's a lot of weddings, around this time,
Getting into
May.
it. You
Yeah.
just went to one. Rand Diesel said he's got to go to one.
Yeah, I think it's
mean,
about the
yeah.
time. Yeah. So yeah, I would recommend people check this out. Bob, how about you?
Yeah, I think this was my third watch. I did a mini cast on this back when it came out in 2019. So if you want to flash back to whatever the hell I said then,
Just
you can do
erasing
that.
all of our mini casts.
I hate this movie. No one should see it.
0 stars. Yeah, I definitely enjoy this one quite a bit. I think it does generally a really good job at balancing the horror and the comedy. And I think Radio Silence in general just seems to do that pretty well. It's a fun watch. Overall, it's just a really, really fun ass movie to throw on. So definitely worth checking out. And that sounds like a general recommendation
It was fun.
from Straight Chilling.
I'd say medium to loose.
Would you
It's
say
a medium. Perhaps loose would be a descriptor I would use.
Somewhere
I feel like-
between medium and loose is where our recommendation falls. I feel
Feels like it's been a while since all three of us were like, yeah, check it out. So now I don't know what to do.
it's been
Yeah.
a long while.
What is? It's been a minute.
What's happening? We're here to say, yeah, fucking watch it if you want to. Who fucks? Who fucking cares? Who
Who
fucks?
Fucking
fucks?
cares. Who fucks?
We're here to ask
Tell
you
Who
me.
fucks anymore?
Call in. Who fucks?
who fucks. 904-638-3231. Rainey doesn't like soft ass shit, okay?
I don't like soft ass shit. I just
Uh
don't care for it.
yeah, that sounds like a loud resounding who fucks from the Straight Chilling crew. We are going to be spoiling the shit out of this movie, and here comes your warning.
Spoiler warning.
Bob. Whoa.
Heyo.
Heyo. We got that plot synopsis.
Dude, sounded like a didgeridoo towards the end there. Yeah, I got it. Here we go. So the movie opens up with a young Daniel Le-Domas being confronted by an injured man begging for help inside of his family's mansion. The family then shoots him with a spear and drags him off. We jump 30 years later. Daniel's estranged brother Alex is now set to marry Grace at his family's mansion. On their wedding day, Grace meets several family members, including Daniel, his wife Charity, the cocaine-fueled sister Emily, her husband Fitch, and their sons Georgie and Gabe, as well as the angry Aunt Helen and Alex's parents Tony and Becky. The Le Dumas family has amassed their fortune by owning a very successful board game company. After the ceremony, Tony explains their ancestor made a deal with a mysterious man called LaBelle to help build the Domas fortune in exchange for observing a simple tradition that being at midnight on their wedding day, every new addition to the family must draw a game card from LaBelle's puzzle box, and whatever game is on that card, they must play. Grace ends up pulling the hide and seek card and goes along with the game, assuming it to be pretty harmless. The members of the Nice. The members of the Domas family all grab weapons while Grace hides. Then Grace sees Emily accidentally kill a maid. She mistakes for Grace and realizes this is no game at all. They're trying to murder her ass. Alex reveals that if the hide and seek card is chosen, the family must hunt down and sacrifice the person that draws the card before dawn, or else the entire Domas family will die. The card was last drawn by Helen's now dead husband, Charles, 30 years prior. Alex ends up disabling the security system and allows Grace to escape, but the butler intervenes. She throws hot tea on his face and runs off. She makes it all the way to the goat shed. Young Georgie ends up shooting her in the hand before she can knock his ass out. She's then startled by a goat and falls backwards into a pit filled with corpses. She climbs out and eventually makes it off property, but is pursued and ultimately captured by the butler. He's driving her back to the house, and she causes him to crash the car. Grace is then captured by Daniel, and they prepare to complete the sacrifice. However, they're incapacitated by Daniel, who ends up poisoning their ritual cup. Charity then shoots Daniel in the neck, and he bleeds out as Grace runs off yet again. The mansion catches fire, and Grace beats Becky to death with LaBelle's puzzle box. Alex goes to help Grace, and he ends up witnessing her beat his mother to death. The two now realize they will never be able to trust each other ever again, and Alex subdues Grace in an attempt to complete the ritual. She breaks free from the ritual table as the sun rises and has successfully survived the night. Helen attacks Grace and spontaneously combusts. The remaining members of the family also explode one by one, leaving only Alex, who begs Grace to forgive him. She throws away her wedding ring, and Alex explodes. LaBelle then briefly appears and nods at Grace in approval. The sole survivor of the evening, Grace emerges from the burning mansion covered in blood. As first responders arrive, when they ask her what happened, she simply replies, "In-laws." Roll them credits.
All right, guys.
Oh, yeah.
What do we?
Wanna play a
Where do you
game?
even start? Where do you start?
Well, I've got an important question to ask you boys to consider. I want you to really
Okay.
think about it. If you had the opportunity to sacrifice someone once every 20 years or so for a huge fortune, would you do it?
I feel like this is entrapment in some capacity.
Do we
This is
just
gonna
get
look
to choose the person, or is it like a random situation like this?
Well, it could be one of your family. Okay, think about this. Think about your extended family and think about who they might choose to marry and think about that one of them might get chosen. So consider that, you know.
Nah.
I guess I gotta go with a no on that one, dog.
All right. I had to ask, I had to
What
ask.
about you? Well, I mean, would you? Would you?
Well,
I mean,
I would.
Yeah, I kind of figured the way you phrased the question. Yeah, you might be interested in that.
That was very self-soothing
You know.
question to ask.
You know, I wouldn't hesitate for a moment to sell
Oh
this.
yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely getting in on that deal.
Staines Gaming Empire coming to a city near you.
The cryptocurrency is not going to sell itself. You know what I mean?
Get the juice now.
I could buy a football team at that point. The guy said he just bought 4 sports teams under his guidance, So
Yeah.
I could be running the Jags, boys.
The
Next up.
dad in this, well, the family.
The Jacksonville Stains, boys.
Oh God,
That just rolls right off the tongue.
I know.
Jacksonville Stains boys. Boys is in there.
Staines boy, go Staines
Jacksonville
boy.
Stains boys.
Go Stains.
Score a goal unit, Staines boys. Go. Go. The family is like just made up of fucking loathable characters, including the dad.
Mm.
Like they have these like the way The movie really kind of jumps right into the action of everything, but you get enough of each character to realize like how miserable and irredeemable they are, including the dad, where he says something like, "Oh, I love you all equally," and then they all just fucking laugh because they know it's just a bold-faced lie. Like nobody believes it for a second.
I don't care for Job.
Right. Yeah, exactly. The sister that's just constantly doing cocaine is loathable and also hilarious. The brother who Daniel, who's like kind of a creep, but also like he does help in the end. So he is actually, I guess, maybe the
He's
only
like a
redeemable
lovable
character.
scamp.
Yeah. Yeah, the dude Fitch, I think is his name, who's like constantly Googling like how to use his crossbow and like whether or not deals with the devil are real or
I
bullshit.
kind of
Like
he's one of my favorites. I like the his low-key jokes. Yeah, like our deals with the devil bullshit real or
yeah,
bullshit.
Yeah.
real or bullshit.
He's a very dim man, and it is kind of fun.
I mean, you gotta ask Google the hard-hitting questions.
Grok would know the answer.
The
Um,
the butler is like a loathable piece of shit who's like
Yeah,
really into classical music. I guess the maids are all innocent
kind
for
of.
the
Well, the
most.
one, yeah, kind of
Yeah, the
sells her
one.
out.
the cells are
Yeah.
out, but it's like a panic move. I kind of don't hold it against her totally,
Yeah,
but
they don't know what's going on really, but they all die in hilarious, gruesome ways.
Yeah. Yeah, this movie actually, it's got I always kind of forget how tore up she actually kind of gets. She
Mhm.
gets shot through the hand, she has to squeeze through the gate and gets like her back ripped up. She gets thrown in that
Yeah.
nasty fucking pit. She's gonna need a tetanus shot and some
The
other
nail,
shots, and she's gonna need
That's
some.
the least of what she's gonna need.
the nail through her hand is like so brutal, dude. That scene is
Yeah, that
agonizing.
seems rough.
She's like an exceptionally like easy character to like because
Yeah.
like it's really she's a really good point of view character. Like everything she does for the most part, you kind of get. You know what I mean? At
Hmm.
no point does she like do something like relentlessly stupid or whatever. Like she just keeps getting fucked over by people, and every time she does, she's like she doesn't just like roll over and die. She like cusses them out or like
Yeah,
freaks
punches
out.
that little boy out.
Dude,
He,
yeah.
he fucking, you think because he's a little kid he'll be okay, and he blows a hole through her hand. Yeah, and she fucking knocks his punk ass out.
Punches his fucking lights out. And when she tries to pull over that car to get a ride or whatever, he's
Yeah.
like, "Get on the road!" And he just drives out. She's like, "Fucking rich people!" I was like, I've
Dude,
never felt a line more in my life.
her freak out in that moment is like amazing.
Fuckface asshole.
Probably,
It's
yeah.
honestly, it's like Clark
Shriveled
Griswold
dick,
level.
motherfucker. Yeah, like probably my favorite moment of the whole movie is when she freaks out in the road. Incredible.
Yeah,
And her like scream has got to be like
Yes.
a top five scream of all time. It is
it's
incredible.
pretty fucking great.
That one,
Yeah.
especially even there's like she's got a couple really like brutal moments. Yeah, the scream, but then even too when she takes the knife out and she's like cornered and she's
Mhm.
like, "Rah," like she's like, right before everyone starts fucking exploding. Yeah, she does it really well, actually. It sounds
Yeah.
very natural and brutal. But also this movie, it flows so well. I would say like it's comedic, but it doesn't like have these stop comedic moments. Like it's not delivering
Yeah.
these kind of like lines or beats. It just kind of baked in naturally.
Well, it's
And I think
character
it,
driven a lot of it,
Yeah, the
which is like
characters are
yeah,
makes it
funny.
feel natural, like
Yeah.
that somebody fucks up or somebody's like this person who's on cocaine is gonna keep fucking up, or that
Yeah,
mhm.
Fitz is like constantly like googling the dumbest shit you can imagine.
the
Like,
situation is absurd, but it's treated seriously. But these characters aren't killers. They're not trained murder or even
mm-mm.
hunters. So like they don't know what they're doing, so they fuck up constantly. And it just the situation itself is hilarious as these people are like, Googling how to use a crossbow. And the
Mhm.
high ass sister just keeps blasting these maids away, dude. It is
Dude,
hilarious. I
and
love that
like
shit.
the only person in the family that seems like truly prepared, actually two people, I guess, because Becky, Andy McDowell's character, the mom, like
Mm.
she's actually like she seems pretty like at first you feel like she's going to be the one that's kind of like one somebody sympathetic to Grace, but she immediately turns on a dime the minute that card is pulled and she has to do the hunting. She's perfectly ready to do that. She's like, ah, well, fucking, I thought you were going to be like me, but we got to protect the family and all this stuff. But the other person is Aunt Helene, who is just clearly been carrying around some fucking resentment her whole life. And I've never in my life seen another human being that looks more like they stepped out of an anime in my entire life. That fucking hair is like insane. I love it so much.
She's one
Her
of my
scowl.
favorite, like, yeah, like when she's sitting there in the chair and she,
You don't want to go anywhere near that woman. She's going to be
yeah,
so unpleasant. You can just tell.
Hmm.
It's hilarious. It's like it's a visual gag. She just has to like sit there, you know?
yeah.
She's carrying around the fucking axe. She looks like literally, she looks like she just walked right out of a fucking anime. I kept thinking that the whole show. And it's like, this is the thing, is she's probably the most heightened like caricature of a character.
Yeah.
But and they all kind of have that to them, but it's weird because they also, like I said, like we were saying earlier, like they also have pretty understandable characters and like motivations. For the most part, you kind of know where most, not all, but most of the characters are coming from really quickly. Um, like what's the name of the brother? Fucking
Daniel.
Daniel?
Daniel. Daniel and his wife Charity, like their relationship is super fucked up, and you can kind of just like tell what's motivating them. His is a little bit more obscured because we get a little like a few like subversions in his story. But for her, she's just like she came from poverty or some shit, some sort of fucked up situation, and she's not going back, and she's cold as shit. And like Daniel's just like a drunk who's resents his family and resents what he does, but he's also weak as fuck. Like that, like it's really easy to get your head around these characters, and everything they do fits perfectly in that character. So no matter how silly things get or silly they end up acting, it feels largely justified, I think.
Yeah. The brothers are interesting because they do have a bit of an arc. Most of the family is pretty consistent, but like you think Alex is going to be sort of I don't know if savior is the right word, but he's gonna like stand by his bride throughout the whole movie and help her out throughout the whole movie. And you think Daniel is kind of like this guy, this drunk that you can't really trust. It's like kind of hitting on her and like says off the cuff things, but he ends up sort of doing the most for her in the end. They kind of trade places, and then Alex realizes that that his relationship is sort of fucked. So he's just gonna kill her ass. Like is totally fine with killing her
Yeah.
ass and sort
Well,
of becomes whatever I think his mom says.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. His mom doesn't talk, and actually, their relationship is what ends up turning him because, yeah, for the most part, he's like supporting her. He's trying to get her out of there, and the whole thing is
Hmm.
like, oh, we got to bring him back into the fold, and he's left us, and he's
yeah,
the one who actually got out and isn't putting up with this family bullshit or whatever. But he doesn't turn on her until Daniel dies, and it is at least understandable while it's still this like deplorable act that he does in the end. But those two moments, it's written really well because the mom talks to him about like, your family, and do you really think she knows you better than your family knows you? And then,
Hmm.
Daniel is like his rock. And then Daniel
yeah,
dies, and he does. I like how he even says, like, there's no way you're gonna be with me after this, right? So,
Well,
like,
he
he's lost
threatens
yeah,
her
Daniel
beating the
and his
shit out of his
wife.
mom.
Yeah.
yeah.
So he's lost his mom, he's
Hmm.
lost Daniel, and then at that point he feels like the relationship with her severed. So really all he has is what's
Yeah.
left of the family.
Is
So
the
yeah, it's a
fortune
pretty
and the
good
fame?
turn,
Yeah.
yeah.
I guess if he doesn't try, well, if he doesn't end up saving the day, then he would lose her and his family and just have nothing at all, which really seems like he would be back where he was when he finally escaped his family, because he
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah. Well,
he
that's the
didn't leave his
thing.
family
Is
for her exactly.
it's this is the thing is like I think that this is a nice like it's a nice play on some cliches, right? Like the cliche of like I came from a broken, fucked up household, but my love, the love of my life, saved me from that. And but like in the process of placating the old life that he doesn't want anymore, he actively ruins the love that they have
Mm.
and therefore has nothing else to lean on. Like you said, like you said, he's not going to be able to continue this relationship, so it just kind of undoes all that good work, and he just goes back into like a latent evil mode that his family just has genetically built in.
Yeah,
I thought
flips
that was
that
pretty fucking
switch.
great. Yeah,
This movie reminds me a lot in its DNA of You're Next. There's a lot of like
totally. I
Yeah.
was
similar
going to say that
similar
too.
Yeah.
beats. And also,
The
Randy,
difference here is like, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say you mentioned earlier Abigail, from the same
Mhm.
directors, writer directors. It has like a lot of similar DNA to that as well. It'd be like a great double or even triple feature with like all three of those.
I think it's too similar, honestly. And really, I only
That's a
think
fair critique.
looking at Abigail going back, I think a lot of the critiques that we gave at that time were quite justified because I think there is only one element that Abigail does better than this movie does. But it makes sense because it's kind of after the fact. And this movie does it well enough. And everything else in Abigail feels like it pales in comparison. Almost just feels kind of like a cheap copy to me, honestly. But really, I think we talked in Abigail so much about the dynamic of the group and how good it was. And I think it's slightly better than the family dynamic here. I think the family dynamic here is good, but rewatching it, I think that some of the characters are set up and maybe a little underbaked or not they could have maybe pushed some of their wacky characters a little bit more like Randy said the crazy aunt is the only one who like really kind of fits this wacky mold. And I feel like Fitch could have been more of like I almost want to see him as like more of like an Otho type of character from Beetlejuice. Like I just feel like there is something there for each
That's a tall
character.
bar.
Yeah, but they like could have been more. Like I feel like their dynamic is not as good as what they were able to get out of the characters in Abigail. But other than that, like it really does feel like Abigail just like they really just kind of doubled down on their formula and just this is to me it was so fun to watch this again because I was like, yeah, this is just really good lore and like really
Yeah.
good action and yeah, you care so much about this character. I don't feel like I cared about anybody in Abigail really.
I
Yeah,
did,
I
and like,
think
go ahead, Bob.
well, I think the main reason is because the little girl turns out to be the strongest person in the building.
Yeah.
I also don't see like lore. I think the main thing that makes those movies similar is just the setting, like that they set the Abigail in a sprawling like I don't know the style, but like this sort of like old style mansion. Like if it had
Mhm.
been somewhere else, if it had been in a fucked up warehouse or something, I don't think it would be as easy to compare, like in terms of like story beats or any of that sort of thing. Like it is, I think it's like instead of one person being hunted, it's one person hunting, and it's like the person you
Yeah.
least suspect, all that stuff. So I think I do think they're different enough for me, and I do think I kind of like the way the characters in this movie and Ready or Not are. They do have a little bit of restraint. They do ground them just enough to where there's at least one toe still on the ground, even at the end when like the most absurd shit starts happening. I don't know. I think that if they had gone pressed the gas harder on making these characters like a little bit more cartoonish, I don't know that I would have thought they were as funny. It might have felt a little try hard to me,
Could
which
be.
I is something I did get out of a couple of the characters in Abigail, and that's why I kind
They're
of
a little
I
more
feel a little bit different about
caricatures.
that.
Mm.
I
Okay.
vibe with
Hmm.
that. I like how they're mostly grounded in this, and the ant does stick out in a hilarious and positive way, but I like that they're not all that way.
She's
They
also
do,
like she keeps the story moving, so like it's an important role for
yeah.
her for somebody there to be like that.
I do think they hit the comedy well in this and in Abigail, and I think it's just like thinking about their filmography now. Like the short that they did in that first VHS movie was the last one that takes place in not a mansion, but a large like three-story house, and it's like a haunted house. They walk through and see
Hmm.
all these fucked up things. And then even the ending portion of Five Cream, the Scream remake, reboot, whatever you want to call it, ends in a giant ass house and like, people are being chased
Yeah.
around by murderous lunatics. And there's a lot of like chases in big houses, big Clue energy in a lot of these
That
movies. They're
especially this one. Like,
yeah,
I don't
especially
know.
this
I don't
one.
know. Like, it just the wealth and like just the kinds of characters that are there. It feels like Clue. Whereas in Abigail, it's like it's a motley crew of like criminals. They just happen to be in like
yeah.
that's why I feel like you can separate them from that setting and it becomes a pretty different feeling movie. They just didn't, and I don't necessarily think it's the end of the world for that movie, but I think it suits this story a lot better for a number of reasons. And it just like it makes everything so easy to dive into. This is such a simple story. They don't go overboard. It would be really easy to hype overload this with either cartoonishness or like some belabored point beyond the very obvious like rich people are fucked up. And I don't know. I think that just keeping it simple really did them a huge benefit in this. The more they kind of tack on, the more they load into these movies, the more topply it gets, I think. And
Mm.
that's not to say that I think that any of them are like especially weak. Maybe Five Cream, but
Six
like
cream.
for the most
Cream.
part, this
Yeah.
one's Six Cream. I mean, whichever one had the skeet. Um,
Well, they did.
Oh,
They
they
did
both.
Scream and Scream 6. They did them both.
That's right. They did do it in six again, didn't they? Well, I was not the same on the same level as you guys with five. And six was worse. I think if I remember, it's been a while. I don't know. Point is, they've got a pretty good rate of return, but this one is like easily the top of the heap in my
I
opinion.
would agree. I think when Bob was listing off all the movies, I was like, oh yeah. But yeah, I think this one is the best. Kind of been sloping down a scotch. But I really love the lore in this though. It's a fun twist. It's kind of like the movie. It's a fun twist on A Deal with the Devil. Where it's
Mhm.
slightly goofy, you've got even the opening where they show all the games
Yeah.
but they play it straight. It's not some kind of like joke, it's not the punchline of a joke, but it is a little silly. Like even when they break it down of like all the other spouses, she's like, I got chess. And then the other dude's like, I got old maid. What the fuck is old maid? Just it provides this kind of levity, but they do play it straight where they're this like ungodly wealthy family that's made it off the back of board games at first, but then he's like, yeah, and then I have these sports teams, and it kind of expands out of that. And then they even tied into like sport hunting and stuff, like, oh, these are my great
He
grandfather's guns, and he
he
was,
heavily
Yeah.
invested in QChe coin too.
oh,
Oh
definitely.
yeah.
That's really where he made most of his
That's
Yeah.
money.
some say that's where the
Yeah.
fortune began.
Yeah.
But yeah, this movie has so
And
much in
can
common
for
with so many.
you too.
Yes, don't let's not get it twisted. You
Go
could
ahead
be a
and
multi-millionaire.
go ahead and make it out
Um,
to cash
We can
chillin'
be
and
your devil if you want.
Mr. LaBelle here.
get your money
telling
ready, send it over to Cash Chillin', and we'll get you those QChe coins.
you J coins are
In the
they're going like
mail.
hotcakes. Get them while they're hot.
In the mail.
You don't want
But,
them
like,
when they're
I just-
cold.
I just think about like all the movies that this like this setup of just like wealthy people dressed nicely losing control of shit. Like Knives Out has an element of that. Like and the characters are very good there too. Like it's just like fucking Arrested Development is basically built on that. Like the
Yeah.
Sound and the Fury is that these stories of like rich wealthy people whose lives are all twisted up and fucked up because they're all inherently flawed, and in many of these cases, especially this one, it's because they are just like internally like the most selfish individuals imaginable. Even like no matter how good you think that the good one in the family is, at some point they're gonna show their fucking dirty ass underbelly and make a decision that is just as evil as anybody else in their family.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just very easy to slide into this kind of story and just really get it and like be down to watch this shit unravel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's got some iconic, like, I think it's just crafted so well because, like I said, I love the lore and like the little pieces that kind of make it unique and special while still also being like a deal with the devil or people that worship Satan. It's got a little Rosemary's Baby kind of baked in there and stuff. But even too, just the moments where she has to put on her tennis shoes and rip her
Mhm.
dress, and she's walking around, she gets dirtier and dirtier, and she becomes this like bloody bride that's just kicking ass though, where she chokes that dude out with part of her dress, and punches that
Mhm.
kid out, but then she's still like really struggling. It doesn't feel like she's just stomping dong through this movie. Like everything that she goes through, she gets more and more fucking beat up,
Yeah.
and is pleading for her life half the time, like, Daniel, come on, like, you gotta help me. And,
Mhm.
she's not just like, just going through this, no problem. It feels like a real struggle for her, but you got this iconic look too. I love the tennis shoes with the dress and it getting more and more tore up. That's just so cool. It's just a
What a
good
great
design.
Halloween costume that is.
Dude, for
Yeah.
real, like it's an iconic look. Like Samara Weaving wears the shit out of this outfit, and I like the movie knows it too. It knows exactly what it's doing. Like she does that whole scene. It's like a fucking Batman gear up scene where you see the nipple chest and all that stuff. Except it's this woman ripping
The
her fucking
nipple
bridal gown, like the chest plate and all that
Sure,
shit.
from
Yeah.
Batman. Let me clarify.
From
Batman nipples, bat
Batman. No,
nipples.
there's no nipple plate in this one, as
Yes.
far as I'm aware. But I don't know, like the bandolier with the giant fucking elephant gun or whatever the fuck that is.
Yeah.
Like it's just a great look, and the bloodier and more fucked up she gets, it's like it's John McClane done as a bride, and it's
Yeah.
fucking awesome
Totally.
to look at.
Yeah,
I
she's
don't
she's
know.
the action star. She's the action hero in this movie, but she's not like a trained cop necessarily, but she's still out
Mm-mm.
there
She's
surviving,
very
beating
intuitive.
ass. Yeah, doing what she's got
Like
to do.
And like I said, like as an insert character, she's so great. The very last thing that I remember her saying before that last line, which is also a fucking great one-liner, but when
Mm.
she sees Mr. LaBelle like in the seat or whatever, and it's just like a little flash, she just sees that happen and just goes, "Fuck!" I'm like,
Yeah.
that's a perfect line. I'm sorry, it's a perfect read. It's exceptional stuff. It's just so simple and just like it's very easy to put yourself in those shoes. There's no hidden message here. It's just well, I just saw the fucking devil after killing a bunch of people or watching a bunch of people explode in front of my eyes. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
what do you say? But fuck.
She's
Well,
very natural in her character and the way she delivers her lines, and even the way the movie opens up. She's like meeting all these extremely wealthy people for the very first time, and she's just sitting alone in her wedding dress and just lights up a fucking dart and just starts ripping some ciggies in her
Hmm.
wedding gown, that she could get ash on or whatever. But it's a stressful situation, and it's like understandable. I don't know, she's something like very natural about the way she plays the character. It's relatable.
Hmm.
and yeah,
It
and the way
is.
they
Like,
build out the aesthetic, I love that they chose to use these old ass weapons. You got this big ass crossbow, or even
Mhm.
the gun that the little kid has is one that has those big ass fucking round, shot or whatever, those crazy looking bullets. And it's just like a cool aesthetic too that they build out from this. And it's
Yeah.
kind of a culmination of really like older things that it's fun to kind of bring into. We talked about Clue, which itself was kind of built off of an older aesthetic, but again, Rosemary's Baby, where these like rich things, but again, the movie where they're hunting people. What is that? The
the
most
hunt.
is it The Hunt? Yeah, yeah. So I mean, just you're kind of like pulling in a
Mhm.
lot of these horror classics, and yeah, I just think that they all work really well. I feel like that they between the lore and the overall aesthetic of the house and the wedding. And then these old timey style weapons and stuff like that. It's just, I don't know. It all just hits really nice. I don't know. I
Yeah.
know we've like been on a rough streak of bad movies, but other than that, like, I really do think that this movie just hits so many sweet spots where it's just like, yeah, that's
Hmm.
just the right amount of that thing that you needed. You're not overdoing it, you're not really underdoing it.
Hmm.
It just hits just right in so many different aspects of like just enough lore, but not overdoing it with the lore, just enough of this like old-timey aesthetic, but not overdoing it with the aesthetic, like just enough of like these kind of kooky characters, but they're not like overplaying with the kooky character. It just feels like a really nice balance.
I agree.
Hell
Like it
yeah.
just feels like this is a movie that like I don't know. It fits it's just so I don't know, I've said this already. It's just so easy to fall into. It's a very simple thing and sometimes that's exactly what you need. I feel like there's just not this is one of those movies that there's not a lot of or like there's not a lot of with like this kind of at least what it looks like a pretty decent budget like mid-budget movies where it's like somewhat grounded but somewhat cartoonish, not quite a comic book movie, not quite a fucking drama bait movie. Like it's
This
a
was a
nice
$6 million budget and it grossed
ah,
57 at the box office.
Holy
six is lower than I thought
shit.
actually.
Me too.
Yeah.
A lot
Lower
lower
than
than
what I
I
would have
thought.
No,
guessed. Yeah.
definitely lower. So they did a lot with a little, and man, it just really it. I just miss movies that operate on this particular scale where it's
Me
heightened, but
too.
it's not galactic. You know what I mean? I think
Yeah.
that's part of why I like it so much because
To the
it
moon
fills a void that we have
for
a
the
lot.
tendies.
Q-chip
Yeah.
coins to the moon.
Pick up
Pick up those
Q
coins.
QJ coins. We got to put that on a t-shirt. That's got to happen. I do
Huge
one more thing we
coins.
definitely got to hit on before we start landing the plane is the spontaneous combustions at the end of the movie
Mhm.
where it's just like the way they end this movie and the sun comes up and you're like, "Oh fuck. Was this all just for nothing?" And
Yes.
Mhm.
you're sitting there with like Alex having the realization that he ended up turning on his wife for potentially no reason whatsoever and you're like, "Fuck. What a choice. What a way to end that movie." And then they pull the
Mhm.
rug out from under you and all those motherfuckers just blow up. And it is
Dude,
so satisfying when that happens.
honestly, it says it speaks volumes about how entertaining this movie is. That I would be equally happy with either of those endings.
Yeah.
Like the first time I saw this, like that's fucking rad. Oh, these fucking idiots! They just ruined their lives. Like they've killed family members and strangers and been doing this for years for no fucking reason. That's a great ending. Also, a great ending is these motherfuckers paying for their bullshit and just popping like goddamn ticks. It's satisfying either way, and that's I mean honestly I don't know how you straddle that line so well.
Well, it's smart because they kind of get both because you do
Yeah,
they spend
that too.
just
Yeah.
the perfect amount of time where everyone has the realization of this is fake, this is bullshit. Daniel's dead for no reason, yeah, because his wife shot him or whatever. The mom is dead for no reason, and yeah, and the aunt too, killing her husband years ago, stuff like that. So it's that perfect moment where it makes you sit with it for just a second. You're like, oh my God, it's all a lie and bullshit. And they have to live with that too. And then you also get the cathartic, fuck you
It's
guys.
true. And it's also like it's the grounded ending and then the rug pull that makes the rug pull that much more heady. And
Yeah.
especially because of how big they do it. They have fucking two under 10-year-old kids pop
Off
like fucking blood
screen.
balloons off screen, but it's still fucking it plays for
They
the
do
biggest
pop
laugh.
though. They do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
the kids
those
don't
fuckers
get off.
pop. They don't.
It's a great tension and release scene. There's so much tension in that moment where everybody's thinking they've just murdered folks for no fucking reason and have been doing it for decades, maybe centuries. I'm not really sure.
Mhm.
But then that release when they all just start exploding is like you can laugh. It's the
Yeah.
horror and the comedy mashed together, which is what this movie is so well, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, great way to end the
It's good
movie.
shit, man. Great movie. Good movie.
Hell, yeah. Any other major points you guys want to hit on before we do rate this thing?
No,
We
I
got-
think we can land the plane, Bob.
Landon LaBelles.
Clear.
Bob, why don't you go
We're
first?
landing.
You never get to go first. So,
Okay.
Bob, out of 5, where are you gonna rate? Ready or not? What you say,
What'd
Bob?
you say, Bob?
Cause you did. I mean, we've just been waxing this movie's car for, the past 45 minutes or whatever. It's just a lot of fun overall. The biggest takeaway for me is like it's just a really, really fun movie going experience. I think it really does balance the gruesome horror shit with the very funny comedy shit. The movie doesn't take itself too seriously, but the characters take the situation seriously, and it just like makes all of these comedic characters and comedic situations really, really pop. All the while, Samara Weaving, this is definitely not her feature film debut by any means, but I think this is sort of her breakout role. She was in The Babysitter on Netflix before this, and then she had a lot of TV and I think a couple Australian
Yeah.
productions. So she had some work behind her, but I think this is what really most people, probably stateside anyways, came to know her for. And she just like carries this character so naturally, and she's very likable, very charming, very funny. Like I said, one of the best screams in the game, I think. It's like so guttural when you hear her like
Mhm.
let loose, and you just feel so bad, like you just connect with the character. The family is funny and also hateable. All the gore gags really work. I overall don't know that I have a criticism really. Cool like twist on a Faustian tale. The lore works. They don't spend too much time like over explaining shit. It just is what it is, and they get right into the action of the movie. I'm a slut for Clue. Big Clue vibes here, so I'm kind of an easy sell when it comes to this sort of thing. I don't know. I think I'm going to come in with a 4.5 out of 5 on this.
All right. Pretty damn high.
Pretty damn high. Rand Diesel, how do you feel?
Yeah, I feel good about this too, man. Like you said, like we've been kind of just giving this movie our best love here, and I'm thinking about criticisms. I don't have a ton of them. I will say this, like I kind of feel like all the things that, like, not all the things, but one of the big things I've been praising this about twice now, I've mentioned its simplicity, but I also think that can be a little bit of a detractor for me because I just like my movies with a little bit of extra something to chew on. I don't need it for every movie, and I think for the most part, this movie does well without it. But taking that opportunity out of it, watching it for my second or third time maybe here, it's kind of interesting that it feels like some of those components are a little maybe too stock, even though it's like it makes it easier to understand, but some of the characterizations and things like that are maybe just a little bit too stock. And that's probably the biggest complaint I could give this movie, which again isn't a whole lot. I wish there was just a little bit more meat on the bone, or a little bit more deviation rather from just
Yes.
stock standard stuff on some of these characters. But otherwise, I think I gotta come pretty close to agreeing with Bob. I'm gonna go with a 4.25 though. I'm a little bit lighter on it than you are. It sounds like.
Oh, 4.25 from Rand Diesel.
Mm-hmm.
Juice, how do you feel?
Yeah, I don't have a lot of major critiques for this movie either. It's really positive, and even like we talked about the aesthetic, but like the design choices too. I like the little box and how they put the card in. There's just instead of just, you could easily just choose a card or something like that, but the way it like prints its own card out and stuff, it's just like cool little touches like that that I really liked. Yeah, I love the setting. But yeah, I guess really my only thing is kind of what I touched on earlier is maybe some of the characters are a little underdeveloped. I do like that they have the maids there for like just the initial red shirts, but that's kind of all we get. Other than Daniel, I kind of maybe wish one of the other family members got taken out made by her or accidentally by her to like kind of fuel the rage maybe a little bit more or make Alex like teeter like a little bit more earlier or something like that. And also too, I thought maybe they could have played up the idea of the kids. I do like how the kid changes, but he's very sympathetic later. I kind of wanted them to make them like more pieces of shit, little spoiled brat ass bitches to kind of like, yeah, punch that
The
kid
Nazi
out or
child
whatever.
masturbating in the bathroom.
Hell yeah.
Sure. But generally, like I do think that the characters were mostly well developed and unique and stuff like that. But that was really like the only thing that kind of came to my mind. Everything else is on point. The pacing is perfect. Perfect blend of action, comedy, horror, good tension when she's in the kitchen and some different moments like when she's got to squeeze out through the gate to get out to the road and stuff like that. Yeah, it was really great. I'm gonna echo Rand Diesel with a 4.25.
Damn, an hour and
Four
a
and a
half movie
quarter.
too. It's hard to beat.
Oh, yeah.
Hard to beat.
Nice and tight. So that's going to put our aggregate at a 4.3, repeating, of course.
Of course.
All right.
And As per usual, whenever you guys do pick a movie that you would like for us to review on the show, you have the opportunity to send over a voicemail or an email with your own thoughts and ratings. However, the person that chose this movie lives with me. So
What?
my lovely wife,
Oh my
Alice,
God.
is going to
Hammy, good to see you, buddy.
sit in with us for a few moments here. Yeah. Hey, Alice, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me,
Hey.
boys.
Hey. What do you think about this movie? Why'd you pick it? What do you rate it?
So I picked this movie because obviously I think you guys have come to know that I really love a popcorn film. I just like something that's a lot of fun. I also love a good for her film, so it was kind of a natural choice, and you guys hadn't reviewed it yet. I really love Samara Weaving's character. She's super relatable. I kind of feel like if we were actually in those circumstances, a lot of us would maybe respond the same way with like her outbursts, like yelling at the car. I feel like that would be me. And just like her completely like feral scream at the end is incredible. It gives me a lot of like Clue vibes, but female centric, which I like. So all in all, I think it's a lot of fun. It's a really good film. I know you guys touched on the stock characters on the side, but I kind of like that because similar to Clue, they are kind of stock characters. You don't get a lot of background on them, and it's not about them. So all in all, thoroughly good film. I would probably give it a 4.2. I think it's really solid. It's a good film.
Yeah. Is it relatable because my family also threw you into a corpse pit after we got
Yes.
married? Yeah.
That's exactly what happened.
Everybody's got the ceremony.
That's just
of
tradition,
corpse
you
pit.
know.
I remember your wedding like it was yesterday. Man.
The goats were sacrificed. We all got
Mhm.
the elephant rifles, and it was a great time.
Had my
Oh,
own
yeah.
yellow Converse and everything.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude.
We were talking about what a great Halloween costume that would make.
Well, maybe that's gonna happen this year.
Whoa.
Hell yeah, dude. Please make
For
it
sure.
happen.
Bob, you could just
I'm
wear
definitely
a
going to make it
tuxedo.
happen on my end. I'm getting a bridal gown of my own. I'm ready to roll. Let's
We'll
go.
all
Great.
just be bloody brides.
Let's yeah. That's perfect. Let's
Let me
do
see
it.
them gams, Randy.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Buddy. You
I
got
want the
it.
bloody hand and everything.
Okay. All right.
The giant
I'll shoot a
hole.
hole in my hand. I'll fucking do it. Don't you
The
dare
dedication.
test me.
Hell yeah. Sweet. Hey, thanks for picking a movie that we all enjoyed.
Yeah, thank
Because-
you for saving
I feel like this
us.
is redemption too, because Andy is just like shat on every movie I've picked.
That's true.
And
He
so I
hates
was
the
really
mummy,
hoping
yeah.
Well, you made the
that,
right
like,
call this
would
time.
be a good one this time.
I'm really
So
glad you picked a good movie this time.
I can bow out. They're all good. I think you just have bad taste, man, but it's fine.
Yes.
Okay.
Fired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alice, you
Jennifer's
just made
body.
3 men very happy. So thank you
Oh,
for
yeah.
Sick.
What a
Way to
weird
make it
way of
not
phrasing
weird
that.
at all.
That's
Yeah.
the weirdest way of phrasing that imaginable.
As
Are
normal
you
as possible.
surprised that that's how he phrased it though? Like,
I mean,
there's no other
I'm not
way.
surprised, but I'm still shocked. It's just another day in the life here.
We're just
The man
normal
called
men.
Stains.
We're just normal men.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
Alice, how many Q-Che coins do you have going right now?
How much have you purchased?
It's our version of Bitcoin. It's our meme coin that we're starting. Q-Che
yeah.
coins.
None.
Tell the
I'm
good
not a-
people how much money you've made off of this. So much money is the
God, I
answer.
hope. I want to be a stay-at-home dog mom. Like, let's let this take off.
Hell yeah.
All
That's how we're
right.
going to build our
We're ready
fortune.
to go.
Sick. More Blu-rays, you know?
Yeah, we
Oh my
need
God.
more blues.
There-
There's not
so you
enough.
so you've decided to pre-squander your winnings. I see.
I mean, you know, you stockpile some away and then you also buy movies.
There's always money in
I
the
don't see the
blues,
problem.
Randy.
I know.
Some of those are worth.
Some of these are out of print.
Bob just
Okay.
got
Oh, my
cash
God.
stuffed into some of the covers. You just gotta go,
Yeah.
but finding them is impossible because there's so
Why
many.
is this particular case 35 pounds.
That's fully what's
Filled
gonna
with
happen
gold
later in
bullion.
life. Like grandfather who sticks money in the
In
book,
book.
like that's gonna be Robbie later. It's just gonna be like dollar bills rolled up in this one.
The 5 cream 4K's got like $3,000 in it. If you can find it,
no
it's
one's
yours.
checking that.
Easter's weird over here. Just
Mm.
hiding the movies. Cool. Well, hey,
Yeah.
thanks.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Thanks,
Thank
Alice.
you.
Enjoy the show, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Let's jump over into a Rotten Tomatoes segment, see what the critics and users think about Ready or Not.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Rotten Tomatoes segment in which I'm going to have these folks guess within the best of their abilities what the aggregate positive score is on Rotten Tomatoes for Ready or Not, starting with the tomatometer or the critics and moving on to the poopometer or the users. I think I'll start with Juice today. Juice, there are 322 critic reviews on the tomatometer. What percentage would you say are positive reviews from those 322?
I think this is going to be positive. I think I'm going to take The Boys 86. It's been a while.
All right.
Project
It has
86.
been a minute. We haven't had a lot of movies that really
Yeah,
called
they
for
could
such
get
a
that
high.
high.
Warrant the boys.
Yeah.
Bob?
I think I'm going to take the over. I think this is going to be pretty high. I'll take 88. Project 88, please.
Ooh, Project
Maybe we
88.
can tie.
Year of your birth, old man. 88.
Don't
I'll tell ya,
dox me. Fuck.
You guys didn't tie, but one of you is just a single percentage point away from correct.
Oh,
Spot
shit.
on correctness. The correct answer, 89%. Bob's walking this one home.
Bob
There
snaked
you go.
it.
Oh, yeah.
Get together, have a few laughs.
Oh, all the QJ coins are mine, boys. They're all coming to daddy. Cashing them in.
All right.
Every time
Uh,
you get a Hell Skeeter Hell Yeet, you get 100 extra QJ coins.
Oh,
That's-
man. That's
Hell
worth 12
yeah.
That's
Yabo
what we're
coins.
playing. That's what we're playing for
Yeah.
now.
So if you
Oh
want to
my
play
God.
the game with us on next week's show, all you got to do
Yeah.
is make out a check for $1,000 to Cash,
Cash
Chillin'.
chilling.
Yeah.
Okay?
Go to juicesportsbook.com right now
Juice.
and get put
Get
your
the
money.
juice.
And get
put
the
your,
juice now.
Get the juice right now, please.
Get the juice now.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to our user reviews. The poopometer is ready to roll here. There are over 5,000 user reviews. Going in reverse order, Bob, why don't you tell me, what do you think those 5,000 are going to net to? 5,000
I think it's
plus,
going
I
to be
should say.
pretty high still. Maybe a touchdown because of the sample size being a bit larger. So if critics were 89, I'll take the 85.
85. All right. Soju, what about you?
I think this one's going to be a little bit lower, so I'll take the under with an 80.
An 80. All right. Well, this time around, one of you is just 2 percentage points away
Wow.
from the
Damn.
correct answer, from the glory. And that glory number is going to be 78%. Soju's walking this part home. So it's a nice split here.
You know what? That's a hell skeeting yeet, Bob.
It
It's
is.
been a while, maybe. I don't remember.
It feels like it's been a long time.
Feels like
Mate,
it's been
we're
a while
tracking
since
this,
I
right? I
had
don't know.
skeeting yeet.
The old skeet and yeet. You got to treat yourself.
What you say?
And a skeeting
All
yeet
right.
equals 500 QJ coins. So that's
Oh my
you get the
God.
bonus this week, you listeners.
Ooh, the 5 times skeet and yeet bonus.
If you
I
put,
love
if
it.
you put in the money, you got to put in the money.
Oh yeah, you got to put in American dollars.
Don't
into the
miss out.
machine,
Yeah,
of
don't
course.
miss out on this rare
It's a
opportunity.
token system.
Don't. You'll be a fool. Your family will laugh at you.
We got this
You
kind of
know,
internal economy going on, so you kind of got to buy into it to really get the
Mhm.
benefits. You know,
You can-
It's too big to fail.
You cannot win if you do not play.
you want to play, don't you?
You don't want to be a loser, right? Because
Fucking
that's what you
losers
are
don't
right
play.
now. Until you
Just
make
jerking
out a
themselves
check.
off in the corner with their American dollars or whatever. Fucking
Damn.
lame.
All the cool kids are bathing in QJ coins.
That's right. Check coins.
Randy, is there a
That's it.
hilarious negative review?
Oh yeah, I'm supposed to finish this segment, aren't I? Let's find one. Let's find one that's negative, and we'll see. All right, here we go. There are only so many clever gags the filmmakers can include before it becomes obvious they're trying to cover up holes of their own making. I have no idea what that guy's talking about. Not that
I
funny.
don't know what the holes are.
Holes is holes. That's what Mom always
There,
said.
there it is. There it is.
All right, one more. I'm not moved by the gore or the slapstick humor used by those characters who celebrate the ritual of brutality. The narrative lacks intensity. Wait a minute.
What?
Those are
Yeah,
contradictory
what?
statements.
It's just not intense enough for me, but it's overly brutal.
I
The
don't
brutality.
like the gore and brutality, but
What?
it's not intense enough. What do you
What are
watch
you-
murders, dude?
what
I
are
don't
you
know.
talking
This guy's looking for an actual snuff film or some shit, I guess. I don't know.
What the fuck?
That does not
Doesn't
work for me.
my mind is blown. I don't know how to respond to
I
that.
don't know what that means.
In fairness, the original review is in Spanish, so maybe there's a
Oh.
mistranslation there. So,
Yeah, probably.
yeah. All right, let's just call it a day on this. I think that's it for Rotten Maters.
We
Bob, you
got
got
our
any trivia?
ski neat. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, we got trivia. Let's get into it.
It's totally time for trivia.
Boys! So Radio Silence has been greenlit to make that sweet, sweet sequel. It's called Ready or Not, Here I Come. It is currently in production.
Is Samara involved? Is it like
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Samara
Alright.
Weaving is coming. Excuse me, coming back. Catherine Newton is also going to be in this one. Kevin Durand, your boy David Cronenberg, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Elijah Wood,
Oh no.
Jesus Christ?
and a
Oh,
couple other people I don't really know. But like, that sounds like a baller fucking cast to
That's
me.
a great cast. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I like the cast. I have faith that it could be good and fun and whatever. But it's a tough act to follow, and I don't know that
Yeah.
I don't know. It's so contained. This is why I don't. It's a
Yeah.
totally unnecessary sequel, and that automatically gives me pause. You know.
And Radio Silence has been slipping. They caught them slipping. So
It's a. I don't know. I don't know how you like live up to your best film by making a sequel to it. Like it's pretty fucking tough. So I think the best case that I'm gonna hope for is that it's at least like on the level of like an Abigail or something. I don't see it
Well,
living up to this.
especially since they use some of the similar beats for Abigail. Like if Abigail didn't exist, then maybe, but like
Yeah.
we're gonna go
They
to
kinda went to the
another
well
rich
again
house
already.
and have
It is a lot of
more
the
people
same.
Maybe.
pop again.
Well, maybe
and,
they
like,
don't though. I'd be interested to see if they took it to a
Yeah.
different like location. Like
Let's
if
go
they
to
did
a
it on, like
different
a fucking
location.
cruise ship or some shit.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like
My I don't know if this is true in any way or not, but what I think might happen is like Samara Weaving finds out that this family, the extended Les Domas family, there's like another wedding happening somewhere else in the country or the world or whatever. And Catherine Newton is marrying into the family and she tries to go save her from getting murdered by these evil fucks somewhere. So that's like
maybe.
my guess. That might not be true
But
at all,
also,
but-
they make it seem like it's super rare that somebody pulls a hide
True.
and seek card. So
Yeah.
it's kind of lame that it just happened. I mean, the chance of it happening seems
I don't know.
pretty slim. And also, it's the same game again. That's the only card that's bad. So it's
Yeah.
going to be
I
like
mean,
another cat and mouse type of.
that may not be
shit.
what happens at all. That's just
Yeah. Maybe
my
not.
guess.
Maybe.
I'm down with it, generally speaking, because the cast is amazing, but it does feel like more of the same. And they just, them returning to the well. Abigail isn't a sequel, but it's like spiritually kind of a sequel. And even like what they did with Scream and the VHS short, it all does feel kind of similar. And
Yeah.
I like most of that, to be fair, but it'll be stale if they just kind of do, here's
This is
another
the thing.
mansion and there's a cat
Right.
and mouse situation.
They got to do
with
something
guns
different
and-
here. Like I
Yeah.
don't want it to be like I'd rather them take it like this is the kind of movie where if you're gonna franchise this, I don't want it to like it's starting off from kind of like low stakes in that there's not a lot of like heady ideas that you can ruin. It's just you can stack too much lore on it, right? Like I think that's the
Yeah.
big issue is you can stack too much lore on it or you can be too repetitive. I think the way to avoid that personally like would be just to not involve Samara Weaving at all. Like, but
Yeah,
that
just
would
another. Yeah, you could
she's
just have
part of the selling
another
point
rich
too, and they're not going to do
family
that.
in a different part of the world, so it looks different. Like Bob said, you know what it kind of made me think of? Two things: Knives Out, or
Yeah.
Yeah.
that one where they got the Perot, or where he's on a train and then he's on a boat and then
Orient
he's in
Express.
Venice. Yeah,
Yeah.
that style thing, Haunting in
Right.
Venice or whatever. Yeah, to kind of do it like that. You don't necessarily need her. I mean, I guess you can,
The
but
difference is like, but the thing is like like I said earlier, she's a John McClane character. She is a
yeah.
unfortunate victim of circumstance who rises to the occasion and has pithy one-liners across the board on the way through it. I don't. You put John McClane in the same situation twice, 3 times, 4 times, it suddenly stops being like an everyman character and starts being a goddamn superhero movie. I don't really want her to be Van Helsing. I want her to have had this adventure and then just be like, fuck it. And like, I don't know why this character would go after families doing this to people. I don't know like why she would do anything besides just get the fuck on with her life. That's what it seems like she wants
And
to do.
inherit all that money, baby.
Maybe the extended family finds out that they all got fucked up because she survived the night and they come after. I don't know.
Maybe.
It's got to be like one or the other, right?
Maybe.
So, however, the radio silence, if you want to hear about something very different off the beaten path that they have not done before, here's what else they have cooking right now. So we all recently reviewed the first Twilight movie on this podcast. And Taylor Lautner is the actor that played the werewolf, the main
Jacob.
werewolf character, Jacob. Thank you.
Mhm,
So they
mhm.
just announced a sort of documentary style television show that's coming out that's called Taylor Lautner Werewolf Hunter. And the premise of this is that after the success of Twilight, Taylor Lautner, the actor, joins a secret werewolf hunters society, and he uses his expertise to fight creatures that made him famous while also balancing Hollywood life and finding love.
Okay, it sounds tongue in cheek, which is the only thing that's
Yeah, it
making me
does, for sure.
not immediately reject it as an idea. But even then,
That's a tough
I don't know,
pill
man.
to sell, man.
I don't know what
it's,
to think, really.
it's in that fucking Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter zone where it's like it's an
Ew,
audacious
yeah.
idea that is not, I don't think, strong enough to carry a movie, much less a series. I don't know, but I've been
I don't
wrong
know
before.
about
I mean,
all that.
fucking. I fucking What We Do in the Shadows worked, so maybe it'll like if they have the right writing team and the right performances, then maybe. But I don't know if Taylor Lautner's a person that inspires comedic confidence in me, so
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I feel like it's gonna be a shot like The Office because it's like a documentary style thing,
Mhm.
and that style is just played
That's
out.
what they
Driven.
do
And it
for
is
What We
played
Do
out,
in the
though.
Shadows. Yeah.
It is,
Right.
yeah.
That's what it feels like. Is it's like they should have just had him guest star on an episode of that or some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
That
hell,
would've
maybe
been
they
great.
did. I haven't seen most of it, honestly.
But like that's a joke I can't see lasting. Like he really would have to bring something to that we're not expecting.
So I don't
In
know
order
if he's
to
a
carry that,
comedic
or-
kind of actor.
Right. Like I don't know what he's capable of in the comedy realm. I've seen him in exactly two things. One is Twilight and the other is fucking Shark Boy and Lava Girl. I don't think either of those are really giving me fucking Steve Carell vibes.
Yeah.
I don't
So
know.
yeah, those are both in production. So they're coming out from the Radio Silence crew. Something kind of familiar and something very different. More trivia about this movie. Samara Weaving had 17 different dresses to show the progress throughout the movie, which makes sense because the end of it, she's like completely drenched in blood, Carrie style. A lot of this film was shot at Casa Loma in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. It's a designated heritage property, and it's also a museum that is open to the public. You can take tours of the building and learn about its history. You can even walk through some of the secret passages. Other movies shot there include Crimson Peak, The Pacifier from 2005, and also the X-Men movie from 2000.
Cool.
Oh, it's
yeah, that makes
fucking-
sense. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Professor X school.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, fucking The Pacifier is not one of these things is not like the others on that list.
Yeah.
That's very strange.
Seriously.
Interesting.
According to the trivia that I found, within Levian Satanism, the term Shemhama Forash, which is they're like chanting it when they're about to actually
Mhm.
sacrifice Samara Weaving at the end, is used during rituals as outlined in the Satanic Bible. The term is essentially an equivalent of hallelujah in the sense that it is taken to mean hail Satan when used in this context to corroborate with LaVeyan Satanism's objective of satirizing traditional religious practice.
Yeah.
All right, there you go. Like like the all that lore, or whatever. It's like, again, it's that thing where for me it's simplistic, and the pro and con of that is that the pro is that you don't have to think too hard about it. It's very clear what the stakes are, what's going on. But the con is that it's just a little bit light. You know what I mean? It's a little bit
Yeah.
anyway.
Heavy
But
enough.
yeah, everything else
Apparently-
helps it sell.
Apparently, La Bail means the lease agreement in French, which
Oh, okay.
I did not
That was a
double-check
cool
that.
little twist. Like, I like how they even so they use that as his name. They never say the devil or Satan or
Yeah.
well and then they push off saying Hail Satan because they're interrupted at what they almost say it. And it's kind of
Mhm.
that joke of like, are they actually gonna say like Hail Satan,
And then the
Another
boyfriend does.
Mhm.
another bit of trivia I have is La Bail is an anagram for Belial.
Mm,
That makes sense. Yeah, there you go.
all right.
Mind blown.
There's so many side like interesting names for Satan. I remember like when I watched fucking Over the Garden Wall for the first time, and the Beast and all that stuff. Like I just started doing research into like vintage illustrations and depictions of the devil. And there's just they pulled a lot of inspiration from things like Old Scratch and all these like different like interesting
yeah.
vernacular for the devil. I assumed that LaBale or just Bale or whatever was one of those. So it's interesting that it's
It
kind
kind
of
of sounds.
instead.
It's got the sound, right? You know.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. It seems like just like an old name that's been lost to time for the devil that is safe to say because nobody remembers what it meant, you know?
Yeah. It's believable.
Mhm.
The games in the cabinet at the beginning of the movie are called Family Ritual, Secret Council, LaBelle's Gambit, Sunrise, and Abracadabra. Apparently, they came up with over 200 fake game titles, and only about 30 were cleared by the movie's legal team.
Oh yeah.
Really? That's
Yeah.
hilarious. I'll tell you, those are like some of the clear, like most on the nose things, or I'm just kind of like, in this world, if this was anything close to reality, this exorbitantly wealthy family that made these games or whatever, it would be prime conspiracy theory fodder. There's no way nobody would figure out that they sold their soul to the devil. There's just no way they wouldn't figure that out.
The last bit I have here, and this doesn't have anything to do with the movie, but Matt Bettinelli-Olpin, one of the two directors of this movie, fun fact, was a founding member of the ska punk band called Link 80.
Link
Precisely.
182.
That's a fucking dangerously close name.
Yeah.
To Blink 182.
Yeah,
I
it is
wonder what
kinda
years they
close.
were active.
I think they were around like mid 90s, early 2000s. So like
Well, they
prime
knew.
Blink 180, I think. Yeah, Blink 182. But still, I listened to some of their stuff, and it's actually pretty good. It reminded me of like Big D and the Kids Table a lot. A little bit of
Nice.
Less Than Jake in there too. Overall, the dude played guitar and a little bit of vocals, and that just makes me like him even more. Way to go!
Yeah. Let's start a
Pretty
band,
good
guy.
for ska, you mean?
Let's start. a
I want
band.
a ska horror movie, and you seem like the director to bring that to fruition. Please.
Hell
please.
yeah, dude, that could
I-
work.
That could really
totally
fucking work. I
We
would
gotta-
love it. And
We got to ring
Lord
up
knows this-
Mephistopheles real quick and get him on.
Hell yeah,
get him
dude.
Signed up.
Yeah.
man.
Exactly right.
My boy,
Let me just
Mephistopheles.
pull him up real quick. on my phone.
I got him. I
Gotta
got
get
him
that
right
Bumblebee
here.
Tuna song on the play.
I think
Yum,
you just
yum.
invested in quite a bit of QChe coins, so I think I got him on.
I got
We're
him
gonna
on speed
crowdfund the
dial.
ska horror film with our cute shit coins.
Invest now.
Invest now.
CashChilling.com. That's all the trivia I have. Let's go ahead and talk about our Cooter of the Week.
Straight chillin'. Gooder of the week.
Juice, what is a cooter and why do we hunt them?
Well, Bob, Cooter's character type on a straight challenge exclusive. Cooter has to hit 3 of these 5 points to be considered a cooter. But we want the cooter with the most points, and we'll probably have to pick between a couple different cooters this week for the most points. The 5 points of cooterdom are sexual deviance, manipulation, smug arrogance, overall looking attire, and overall patheticness, boys. It's going to be a lot of contenders
tough.
this week, I think.
Yeah, there's a lot of family members that embody one or two of those.
Yes.
Probably more, but
Yes.
I mean, we
I
could
feel
probably
like-
round up the whole family.
Probably, but
let's just go through the motion though.
let's
interested.
who might be the
I would start with
top?
Fitch, maybe. Is it Fitch?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, pathetic, right?
though. He's
You
Oh,
know,
the
pathetic.
Googler. I don't know. He wouldn't. I think the dad might come to
The
top of
dad
mind.
might be. He's got the smug arrogance. So the dad's got the smug
Sure,
arrogance. He's
Mhm.
overall pathetic
all kinda have
and manipulation, I would say.
Yeah. He's
The
pathetic
mom,
in
the
like
mom too.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The mom is like super manipulative as well.
She is. But she's like more
Yeah.
put together. She's not I wouldn't call her
Yeah.
pathetic. I wouldn't call none of their look and attire is out of order for what their
Mm.
their station
nobody's
is.
got weird.
The
Yeah.
dad might have a touch of sexual deviance because one of the maids says like, "I have no idea what I'm doing, Mr.
I'm just here for
Mr.
Likes the way I
Damas."
dance.
Yeah, likes the way I
Yeah,
dance.
maybe.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
You know, I kind of want to bring up the butler, the fucking
He's a
classical
smug
music ass
motherfucker.
butler.
Yeah.
He's smug as shit. His I don't know, like I I don't know if it goes like we don't get a ton out of him, but like he's just like really fixated on music, and he's really like totally comfortable being brutal as shit and trying to murder or at least entrap this woman to be murdered. Like he's very very comfortable with his role. And he's not part of the family, so I don't know. I guess he gets paid pretty fucking well.
Yeah.
Who knows? I don't know. Maybe maybe it's too thin there. I
The
feel like
daughter too, she's super pathetic.
Mhm.
She ends up killing a
Mhm.
bunch of people. She manipulates her dad. She's always like daddy's girl, and she's
Yeah.
always trying to get
Her-
what she wants.
Her pep talk in the mirror is great. She's, no more fuck ups. You're a fucking boss bitch or whatever she says, and then snorts some
Yeah.
coke and runs off. Very, very good.
Yeah. And
I
then
would say that
Daniel
the fuck-
too's got maybe a little sexual deviance. He's always hitting on his brother's fiance.
Oh, I thought
wife.
that was a play for. I thought that was him trying to like.
Oh, get
Get
her
her
out of
to
there.
not
Oh,
marry
yeah,
the-
that
into the
might be.
family.
Yeah, that might be. That's good. Yeah, okay, maybe.
I thought it was
Alright, never mind.
tactical, but like yeah, like he's got a patheticness to him because he's like ultimately he makes the right call, like or he makes a right call, but like throughout the thing he's just like I'm just too weak to do anything about it. You've misjudged me. I'll give you
Yeah.
5 minutes, like or some shit like that, or 10 seconds or whatever, and it's like this very passively like accepting his fate as an evil person until he finally changes the tune on that. Up until that point, though, I would say he earned patheticness.
Also, Alex too. Alex super pathetic
Yeah.
there at the end.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of reverse. He goes from being like the principled one
Yeah.
to the pathetic one, and like him and his brother swap places. It's really
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like they all hit a touch of them. Maybe probably the dad, and maybe that seems like the dad probably hits the most because he's the only
think
one who
so.
might have some sexual deviancy with the
Yeah.
maid situation.
He's got the arrogance, the manipulation. I think they're all pretty
Patheticness.
pathetic at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, the sexual deviance. I don't think anybody's gonna hit the look and attire because they're all like
Yeah,
No.
they're dressed
looking
nice enough.
fancy and
Yeah.
stuff.
But yeah, I think
So-
the
I don't know,
dad
man. I
probably
think-
hits the most.
But I still think I think it needs to be the whole unit because
I
this
think
is a
so,
team
yeah.
sport, and for me, I think there's enough of every one of these pillars of cooterdom outside of looking attire to really, really put the whole family under lockdown. Yeah, I don't know.
I think most of them would hit smug arrogance, manipulation, and also patheticness.
Yes.
Mhm.
The majority of them, yeah. So They
That's
sold
kind
their
of the
soul to the
message.
devil.
If there is a message of the movie, it's that these rich, selfish motherfuckers, they can the best they can do is talk a big game, but when the chips are down, they're gonna preserve
Yeah.
themselves at everyone else's expense, no matter what. So like that's pathetic, just on its face. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole Les Dumas family. We
mhm.
got
Got
them.
him,
Book 'em.
boys. We got him.
Book
Lock them up. Throw away the key. All right, boys. Let's talk about what we've been watching this week.
Hey, gang, what you been watching?
Rand Diesel, what you been watching?
Yeah, it's been a kind of a comedy heavy week for me mostly. I did pick up Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom again after some break because I haven't played any games outside of fucking Balatro from the minute I downloaded that goddamn thing onto my phone. You want to talk about a cursed game? That shit sucked my brain out through my eyeballs.
Whoa,
But
not your
yeah, Legend of Zelda
eyeballs.
Echoes of Wisdom is still a very fun game, and I'm having a good time picking it back up. But as far as like watching stuff, I watched the conclusion of The Righteous Gemstones, and I gotta say, like after some consideration, I don't think I'm a huge fan of this season, man. It was
Mm.
a little lacking. I feel like they spun their wheels a little bit. There's some good moments, of course, and some good performances here and there, but a lot of the characters seem to be kind of off on their own island. The fucking Gideon character just seemed like completely disconnected from everything that happened.
Wasn't it supposed to be an end to the series, right? Is it wrapping up the
Yeah, it's the
series?
final season, and
Damn.
there's some good shit there. Don't get me wrong; it was not unenjoyable, but it kind of pales in comparison to the first two seasons, I would say.
All right.
Yeah, I picked up The Rehearsal is back, so I've been watching some of that. I mentioned that last week. Episode 3 is a real fucking brain bender of an episode. I get to episode 4 soon. And that prompted me to start watching a show I had never really paid much attention to, which is Nathan For You, his Comedy Central series. So I've been watching a few episodes of that, and that's a pretty funny show. And you can definitely see, like this guy is. It's like his training wheels for The Rehearsal. It feels like to me as somebody going backwards in the catalog. Good shit. Like very funny, very high concept, very hard to describe. I literally had friends over last night, and we had dinner or whatever, and I was trying to describe for them what The Rehearsal is, and like we just I couldn't figure out how to talk about it and how to describe it. So we just watched the first episode, and I was like, as I'm watching, I was like, yeah, no wonder I couldn't fucking describe this. I forgot just how insane this is at its very like seed level premise. It's fucking nuts. So yeah, crazy shit. Very very cool though. I love that shit. And then did also get to see some live comedy. Saw Stavros Halkias last night after we did that. That was a lot of fun. Fucking dude makes me laugh pretty hard. Um, yeah, I don't know. Not a lot to describe there. Just good shit. And then last thing is not comedy at all. Is a true crime doc called A Deadly American Marriage on Netflix, which is about this guy who Scottish guy with two kids who gets married to an American, and then ultimately he winds up dead. And it's like it's an interesting little true crime doc. I haven't seen anything about it before, so I don't know. I don't know that I'd hyper recommend it or anything. I'm just kind of like past recommending true crime at this point. If you like it, you're already watching it. But it was an interesting story, I guess. The rest of that stuff though, very cool. That's it for me. How about you, Juice?
I haven't been watching a whole lot. Been still kind of going through Peaky Blinders, because that's my lunchtime show. So I've been watching that. And I rewatched Parasite. I hadn't seen
Yeah.
that in a few years, and it's still good. Still a good movie.
Remember
That
when we reviewed that and called it a horror movie and everybody lost their damn minds
I
because of it?
do remember that, yeah. But actually, one thing I didn't realize is the guy who plays the dad in that movie, he committed suicide like a year or two ago, and I hadn't
What?
seen it since then. The guy who's the family dad in that, and it was actually a really fucked up thing that involved like the press kind of leaked some details about some police case he was involved in that like had drugs or something, and it kind of drove him to commit suicide. So
This was like
Sucks.
the principal dad character, not the rich
Mhm.
dad.
No,
Oh,
no,
that's
no, no,
fucking
no, no. The rich dad, the rich dad.
That
Not.
fucking
Oh,
sucks,
yeah, not the
man.
principal.
Okay.
But yeah. Yeah. There's two dads in that, but no, the rich dad. Yeah. So yeah, that really does suck.
Damn, that's too bad, man.
So on that bummer, I'll just toss it back over to you, Bob.
Oh, hey, thanks. Well,
Hot potato there.
talk about what I've been watching. I had checked out Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back because May the 4th, and I hadn't watched a Star Wars movie in quite a while. So, really enjoyed it though. I definitely have some nostalgia for that original trilogy, and it definitely held up. It's just I love the characters, the design of the ships, the crazy aliens and shit. It's a lot of fun. I still really like episodes 4, 5, and 6. So definitely a fun revisit there. I watched a newer movie on Netflix called Nonas, and this was starring Vince Vaughn, Susan Sarandon. Is also produced by Vince Vaughn, and it's about Vince Vaughn's character. He wants to open up this Italian restaurant, and he wants to have all the chefs be nonas, which is what Italians call their grandmothers. So he wants to hire a bunch of Italian grandmothers to be in the back cooking. He had a good relationship with his mom and his grandmother, and they taught him how to cook some stuff. And so he opens up after they pass away. He opens up this Italian restaurant on Staten Island and hires these 3 Italian grandmas, and they come in and cook up a storm. And it's like, it's a family drama, kind of heartwarming sort of thing. I enjoyed it, honestly. It's for a Netflix original, it was pretty solid. And also when it ended, I had no idea that this was based on a true story, because then it started showing all these pictures of these real people in this restaurant that exists on Staten Island. So
wow,
it's a real thing that's out there, which is kind of rad. Feel good kind of thing. Also, last thing for me here, I watched a new release on Shudder, which was The Ugly Stepsister. Finally got a chance to watch that because we did miss it at the Overlook Film Festival, and I gotta say, I recommend that one. Definitely good. It won the audience award at the Overlook, and I can kind of see why.
Cool.
I'm still regretful I did not check.
We
that
might
one
have
out.
to review that one too.
I got I recorded a mini cast on it today, actually. I got that in the can. But yeah, we can. I mean, if we end up working it into the schedule down the line, I think it'd be an interesting and fun conversation for sure. But it is currently on Shudder, so it's very accessible. If you don't know anything about it, it is the Cinderella story from a more obviously horror type lens. It's got a couple scenes that had me squirming, to be honest. Good shit though. Recommend checking it out. That's all I've been watching. Boys, we do have one voicemail, so let's go ahead and jump into our hotline screams.
Hotline scream.
If you would like to call in and leave a voicemail to be featured on next week's show, hit us up at 904-638-3231. We got one voicemail this week, and we're going to hear from our boy Miles. Let's hear what he's got to say.
Wow, so you guys really didn't, you guys really didn't like that movie that much that I picked for you guys last week, which is fine. I think Randy was a little bit more kind to it, but particularly Justin. Justin was not a fan of that movie, which is fine. I think I kind of figured out. I think Soju just doesn't appreciate Asian culture, which is fine. I mean, some people they don't get out of their comfort zone, and that's fine. I think what we need to do, Justin, maybe we can get him to travel, do some traveling, to maybe go abroad, see some other cultures, some other people. I think then he would be able to appreciate Asian culture and just things from outside of the West. and he might be able to appreciate those different sensibilities. But just suggestion. Yeah, y'all guys take it easy.
Good idea,
Damn.
Miles.
That is pretty spot on. I kind of hate Asia, so you
Oh,
know.
Justin's always like,
Just
boy,
kinda.
Asians, am I right? Oof.
Am I right? No, I will
Uh,
say though, yeah, I do. Since I'm probably the most humble man on this podcast, I will,
Oh
offer
my
a little
God.
bit of an apology to Miles, and that, I think Miles unfortunately ended up at the end of a long dark run of Patreon picks, and actually I think his movie was interesting. It was just difficult to talk about. So I probably could have been a little more kind towards Miles and his pick. So sorry for that.
I gotta tell you though, you can tell that Miles is just not bothered at all because he keeps saying, "There's just nothing wrong with that. It's totally fine. Everything is
It's
fine.
fine.
It's
It's
all
good. I'm
fine.
okay. It doesn't
Everything is
bother me at
fine.
all.
Nobody's upset at all. Nobody."
I get it. Everything you said was justified. It's justified because you're just closed-minded.
I noticed you never
Yes, you're
picked
just
any
close-minded. That's fine,
Korean
and that's fine.
films,
That's fine. That's fine.
Miles. Okay, it's always got to be Hong Kong. Okay, all
Oh,
right.
yeah.
So
I mean, he did also
who
pick
can't
The
get out of his
Howling
comfort?
too.
Well, Deuce, yeah.
The Howling Deuce. He only picks heaters, top to bottom, left to right.
Heaters, as
He
in
famously
farts in your
has-
pants, or
He picked a Godzilla at one point, didn't he? Right?
Yeah, I
that
know.
sounds
I think
right.
he's picked at least one Godzilla movie.
Maybe it
I'd
wasn't
have
the
to-
original.
Yeah,
Could've been.
I think so. I think so.
So yeah.
And-
All right, we'll give you that one, Miles. Okay, all right.
No shade on that.
Maybe Shin. Did he pick?
Oh,
Shin?
maybe.
Or maybe
No,
Jose picked Shin.
no,
I think
no.
Jose.
Let's just keep guessing.
I think Jose.
There's no way for us
Shin.
to find this
There's
information. at
just
all.
no way to know.
I'm just
no
gonna
way
keep
to track
talking
this.
and being wrong. That's just it's gotta happen.
Boxers, oh man. Human
Miles,
lanterns.
sometimes
-1.
occasionally
Oh wait, no,
you
sorry.
have
Yeah, no, he was
Good
a
movie
guest on that. Excuse
taste,
me.
but
Yeah, yeah.
it's rare and few and
Alien
far between.
3,
Dude,
Curse
I
of
like
Frankenstein.
that was a
The
good pick.
Fly.
Curse of Frankenstein.
Actually, that
I
wasn't
mean,
bad,
all
was
those
it?
were all solid. Yeah.
Yeah. No, Miles usually
Alien
does pick
3
good
is great.
movies.
Yeah.
Gamera 2, he picked.
Yeah. I like
The
The Fly.
Howling 2.
That was one Randy was not kind to.
Perfect
but
Blue.
Dude,
I
Perfect
just
Blue.
wasn't into that. Yeah.
Bucks.
Perfect Blue. Perfect Blue
Perfect
rules.
Blue is
So-
really good.
Yeah.
And Godzilla 54. Yeah, the man's
So-
brought his share of heaters in the good sense.
Yeah, we're
as
talking
much as
shit,
he's
but yeah, there's some legit.
and
heat.
regardless, it could,
You can
like,
pick whatever.
we're
whatever the
appreciative
fuck
of
you
of
want.
dog shit
Regardless,
movies if
I
people pay
always
us for it.
support someone supporting me. So
Right, and that's
Always.
why we're sure Miles is gonna buy 18 Quiche coins
Mhm.
right now.
I know Miles
my
is a
God.
heavy investor.
What do I gotta
in
do
Quiche.
to get you into
And
a
they-
Quiche coin today?
We're even
Tell
selling
me.
Quiche coin curses.
What?
Coin
What are we
coin-
selling?
Coin
We're selling curses.
Well, until next week.
Well,
as
we're
al-
selling some
We're selling-
curses.
We're selling crypto and curses.
We got them coin curses for you.
Damn.
Damn. Damn.
Damn.
Miles,
Damn.
thanks.
Losing at deals, and I don't want to make a deal anymore.
I don't want to make a deal anymore. Thanks for calling, Miles. Thanks for
Thanks,
always
buddy.
supporting the show, man. We really do appreciate it. Again, if you guys would like to call for next week, hit us up at 904-638-3231. The question I came up with is I want to know if
Well,
you
we don't care
guys-
about that, Bob. We have questions of our own.
Oh,
So what
Bob just joined the
questions you got,
show. He
Ju-
just
Juice,
he
you got
just
any
logged
questions?
on right now.
The
Look at
question I had prepared for today was how many Quiche coins?
that. Oh, God.
Can I fit in my crypto wallet before I become absorbently wealthy?
That answer is an unlimited quantity.
Sky's the limit.
I want in-law horror stories. Call in. What you got?
That's good.
In-law
Yeah,
horror.
what's your worst in-law story? That's a good one, Bob. People love to bitch about their in-laws.
I mean,
Tale as old as time.
you know, it really is.
Okay. What prompted that, if I may?
Call in 904-638-3231. Did your in-laws make you play a weird game or something? Let us know.
It's
I
called
wanna hear
tummy
about it.
sticks.
That's fucked.
I
up,
always
God.
lose.
God in heaven.
For me, it was night crawlers, but
hell yeah.
I got
Mine-
Old Maid, but it's
I
not
got-
the one you're thinking of.
the fuck is Old Maid?
It's a twist on a classic.
Oh man.
What you say?
You only meant well.
Well, of course you did.
Of course you did. All right, we'll be back next week with a brand new show. As always, we're talking about the winner of the May poll, which was your boy Van Diesel's takeover month. We're talking about Milk and Cereal from 2024.
Whoa, Randy.
I'm gonna bring some milk and cereal to the game.
Isn't
myself.
this like
It's gonna
super
be good.
short too?
Yeah,
It's pretty short. It's compact, yeah.
Really?
it's like an hour and 5 minutes. And if
Oh,
you guys
Yeah,
are,
it's tight.
It's on YouTube.
yeah, it's on
Mhm.
YouTube for $3.99. Milk and Cereal, Serial. It is a found footage style movie. And it's good. Check it out. Spoiler alert. It's solid.
Spoilers.
We'll
It
see.
is
I'll
good.
be the judge of that.
I'm spoiling that
Oh,
milk right
we're
now.
all waiting on bated breath.
I know. That's why you support me.
Okay.
Totally.
I
Check
think,
out-
I think the term is enable.
Check out Milk and Cereal. Get ready for next week's show. Until then, hit us up on all the social media websites. You can find us, just search Straight Chilling Podcast. If you want to join in on the daily Slack channel conversations, hit us up on social media. Let us know, and I'll send you a link so you can do so. And until next week, as always, all you mother truckers, please keep chilling.